All right, we are gonna bring on Miss Denise, the Mooch Moochie. What's up, Denise? How you doing?
Hi.
You doing okay, girl?
I'm good.
Cool,
I'm good.
cool. It's good to see you, man.
It's good to see you.
Well, I am so glad to get a chance to introduce to all the folks out there watching all of our amazing, some of our amazing volunteers. We can't introduce all of them. There's too many. What a great problem to have. But
Mhm.
you've been an amazing volunteer for Breast Cancer Kids Ticket for some time. But I always like every time I have a guest on, Denise, I love to be like, okay, where did it all begin? And so when I think about you, I think about music because you are such a huge fan of music. So I'm spitballing and I'm just gonna be asking you crazy questions all night. But can you remember like as a child, like when you first got into music, like what was your first favorite band?
My first favorite band was actually, well, it was Rick Springfield was him, but then it was the Jay Giles band, actually.
That's an awesome choice. So
Jay Giles
was
band.
it specifically like my blood runs cold?
Oh, I love that song. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It was the first concert I seen too.
yeah.
My sister took me. I just loved music. I mean, I've always been around music. When I was younger, actually, I started like I used to roller skate actually and break dance on roller skates to, back in the day to disco actually.
That's actually
And,
super awesome, man.
mm,
That's awesome. That
yeah,
can't be easy either.
no, well, back then it was real easy. It was nothing, but now today, probably not.
That's funny. I think like people don't skate like regular roller skates anymore like they used to. It's all rollerblading and whatnot, but to be able to
Right.
dance and roller skate at the same time would be crazy. So was it I actually own that 8 track, the one with
Oh,
centerfold on it from
oh
Jagal's
my,
band. And it
very
had
beautiful.
and like freeze frame was another one that I liked. And I really actually listened to that whole I was gonna say disc, but it was far from a disc. It was an 8 track. I listened to
Eight.
that whole 8 track all the time, but I couldn't tell you another song other than freeze frame and centerfold right now for some reason. But that's a
Same
good
here.
choice. So you said that that was your first concert ever?
My first concert was Rick Springfield. Actually,
Okay, cool.
I love Rick Springfield,
Yeah.
and then the Jay Giles band, and so then after that it was like Ozzy Osbourne and like really heavy metal stuff, and still to this day, yeah,
Yeah.
it was probably like in the l- well like 80s, the early 80s. It was Motley Crue, Nikki Six.
Yeah. Good choice there too. How old were you when
Yeah,
you went to Rick Springfield, your first concert?
I was I was 14, 14.
I always find that to be an interesting question to ask people because the age differs so much from person to person. Like my folks were not down with letting me go to a concert until I guess it was I think I was 15. And
15.
so some
Okay.
people, I guess it's around that age. Did your parents go with you or who'd you go
No,
with?
no, I always hung out with my friends, so and my sister. I went with my sister and her friend, and then I got to bring a friend. And I was so excited. I'll never forget. I was so excited when they were coming on stage. I ran to the payphone, because there was payphones back then. It was a dime. I called my mom just to tell her that they're coming on stage now. I'll never forget it. She's like, "Well, go back and watch the concert. Why are you calling me?" I was just so excited.
That's so cool. I love
Yeah,
that though. That's awesome. Is your sister older than you or is she younger?
older. They're all older than
Yeah.
me. I'm the baby.
So that makes it easy where your
Mhm.
older siblings can take you out. Cause dude, when I went to my first concert, it was Van Halen 1984. We bought 10 tickets, and this was before I had any understanding for how ticket sales worked, because back in the day,
Mhm.
buying tickets to a rock concert, that was like a skill set. You had to know when to kind of like go and maybe make the phone call if it was over the phone or camp out for tickets or whatever. And so I didn't have an understanding for it. And I was like, oh, well, we need 10 tickets. I want all of us friends to sit together. And little did I know, getting 10 tickets together meant the very top row of Reunion Arena
Right,
down in downtown
exactly.
Dallas. So we
Right.
actually went and my dad chaperoned. And so it was my dad and nine of my friends at Van
Okay.
Halen in 1994. But like you
Oh,
said, as you got older, you got into rock music a lot, right?
oh, yeah, yeah, I always loved the rock music. Always have. And then especially when I moved here in 1984, I moved here from Boston. I was always attracted to, what is it? What's the word? I was just attracted to, the people, the guys with the long hair and the tattoos, and then the girls like, just rockers, like looking like you. Like, I just have to say this. My grandson last night, he was seeing a picture of you. He's like, "Wow, she looks really rad, man." And he said,
That's so funny.
"Sorry, I went off the subject, but
Oh,
so
you're good.
she looks really cool, and she looks
That's
rad."
what a sweetheart, man. That's
But
so funny. I
yeah,
just
it's just like, but it attracted, caught my attention.
yeah, totally, totally. I
Yeah.
mean, I was in the same boat with you. I loved Van Halen, Nikki Sixx,
Oh yeah.
you know, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, White Snake, all those bands. I was super into that. Um, and then you get older, and then you find out that there's like this whole music scene of like original music and cover music and stuff like that. Do you remember the first time you ever went to see a band like at a bar?
At a bar was is Joe's Garage a bar? Back then in the day when I saw Pantera, and then at Savvy's, that was a long time ago. That was 80.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I actually
it was
played. I actually played at Savvy's a few times back then.
really,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's crazy.
yeah. That was
So,
the first time that I saw a band like that.
and it was Pantera. Was that the first band?
Yeah, and they weren't even really. Yeah, yeah. It was them. Um, Gosh, it was crazy at Joe's Garage because I remember that was the first crazy concert or what? Yeah, music scene, and it's like everybody's throwing everybody around, and I just remember saying, "Oh, that was scary," but it was
Yeah,
fun. It was fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's really cool. Yeah, the music scene was crazy in the '80s, and then as it kind of progressed, as we both got older, and that scene kind of dissipated.
right.
I don't know about you. I started finding myself in the cover band scene. Which is
Okay,
a whole different group of bars. And
right.
so like a lot of the bands that you see out there now, that you're fans of, like Blackout, and
Yeah.
you know,
Black
Metal Shop, and
Black
all the
Dog,
different bands out there, the rock bands, maybe
Boy.
Incognito. Like, what are some of the
Yeah.
other local bands that you like right now?
Who else?
Yeah.
Um, I like, maybe she's not rock and roll, but I love her. But what is her name? From Pink. The tribute to
Oh
Pink.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
that.
Just like Pink. Yeah, they're
Just like Pink.
amazing.
I love her.
Yeah.
Rebel Yell.
Uh huh.
Um, that 70s band.
Yes.
That
Yep.
70s band.
Those are
And Black
all
Sabbath, of course.
good
Yes.
options. Rockaholics.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then is it Motley Mayhem? They do a
Huh?
cover band for Motley Crue, and she's a female singer. She's awesome.
I think I played a gig before with them at Glass Cactus, actually.
Real Oh, wow,
Yeah.
Glass Fingers.
Yeah.
I
It's
went there a long
crazy.
time ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Before I forget, I want to tell you that Chris Rape is messaging and saying, "Hi, Denise. Hi, she's wicked awesome." So everybody thinks you're cool. Amber says, "Y'all rock."
She
It's
does
so
too, thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Well,
So at some point or another, as life went by, you and I had the pleasure of meeting. Do you remember how we first met?
we
How and
first met
where?
the first time we met was I just signed up for volunteering because of Bobby and Darlene, and it was at I say Starplex. What is it now? Dos Equis? What's
You
it
know
called?
what? I can't keep track. It was like Dos Equis, Smirnoff,
Right.
Starplex. There was one time it was
Starplex.
superpages.com center. I was like, what? But
Right.
yeah, same
That's
place.
the first time I met you. And it was Papa Roach. It was Papa Roach and someone else. I can't think at the top of my head, but that's the first time I met you. And I remember Bobby telling me she's just like you, because you're always busy doing a lot of stuff and running around. And she said, "You guys will get along great." She goes, "Y'all will he said, "Y'all will get along great because y'all are a lot alike, got a lot of things going at the same time."
That's
And the
totally
first
true.
picture, I just remember that in the first picture we took together, I was just like, I was stoked, man. I still
Oh,
remember, of course.
you're so awesome, man. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I remember that was at a BFD concert at
EFT, yes.
Starplex. We'll call it Starplex. And I think the first time we did that, we had a booth there. It was 6 a.m. I think was playing, and maybe I
And
want
I
to
went
say
three
was
doors down.
I don't remember, but it was a great show. I remember that much,
Okay.
and it was a really cool one to be a part of. We did that for I think 3 or 4 years. We're down there at BFD with a booth, which was super cool.
It was
Um,
2018, I remember.
yeah, see, that was just 3 years ago. See, it seems like I've known you so much longer than that. It feels like I've
Yeah,
known you for a really long time. But so
thank
you've been volunteering for us ever since then, and recently I catapulted you into corporate America
thank you
by
very much. Thank you very much.
thank you, welcome to corporate America,
Thank
and
you.
you're helping out now. Like you've been helping at booths and with raffles and all that kinds of stuff for years now. But recently you've helped by volunteering from home by
I
helping actually schedule this very show. And I was talking about it earlier, and I was
did.
like, no, she didn't schedule herself. I asked if she would be able to do it. So it's not like you threw yourself in there. But you've
Mm,
been really great and effective at that and done such an awesome job. And I'm so thankful that you've been able to jump in and do that. It's been such a
thank
load
you.
off. And every time you help is such a load off. And you're always so wonderful with people. And that's a true talent, Denise. Seriously, I
Thank
mean that for real.
thank you. I don't know how anybody else who else to be. I mean, I'm just myself.
You're very good at it, by the way.
Thank you. I've learned it since I think I was about a year old. I'm not sure.
I'm
I'm just
down, man. So, we were talking last night. We talked about that oftentimes on the show we have people that have overcome adversity of some kind, and how you and I both feel like it's so important to share those stories of triumph and really overcoming obstacles in your life. And usually we talk about breast cancer primarily here, but we've talked about other overcoming other things like other diseases. My singer from the Breast Cancer Kids Ticket Band was on, and he talked about um, being diagnosed with leukemia, and also he's a burn victim and had was involved in an explosion where he was, burned a large majority of his body, and so just being able to overcome huge adversity like that is so important to share those stories to provide inspiration and hope to those out there watching, because you never know who's going to be watching right now and who you might reach
right,
and whose heart you might be able to touch, and
right.
give them that much needed hope. And you have a really great story, and I remember you were kind of in the middle of the situation when we first met.
Right.
And you want to talk about it a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
just kind of, yeah, just tell everybody kind of what went down.
Well, I still say I'm a survivor and I'm still learning every day, but domestic violence, because it's a real thing. It is a real thing. And I never thought I would ever see myself in anything like that because I've grown up with my dad and my mom. I was strong, strong people. And it's a real thing that narcissist, that they say it's a real thing. And yeah, I get nervous a little. Sorry.
No, you're
But
okay.
I'm still overcoming it because I've learned that, I thought PTSD
Hmm?
was, just for people in war, the war that been through war, Vietnam. No, it's, for people who've been through some trauma, and I've been through some trauma, and I never like to say I'm a victim. I think it sounds, I don't know, victim because, but I am a victim. I am because I was taken advantage of, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that's really hard. And I mean, when you first opened up to me about this, and I told you about my experiences, because I've
Yep.
been through the same, been through domestic violence. It's one of those things that you think you'll never find yourself in that position because you're a strong person, you're confident and whatnot, and
Right.
yeah, and
Mhm.
you just think as soon as something like that would ever happen in your life, you'd be out of there, and you wonder about,
Exactly.
yeah, you wonder about these other people who are in violent relationships like that, and you're like, well, why would they just leave? What the hell's with that? And you
Exactly.
just don't understand it until
And
you've been
now
through
I'm
it.
one. And
Yeah.
now I'm one that sits back and I will never say that to a person again because I totally get it. 110%, I totally get it. And I understand why they keep going back. It's not that women, they like it, because people will say, who cares what people say, but they'll say, oh, she must like it, or, you know, she's addicted to it, which it is an addiction because there's trauma bonding, but nobody likes that. No one thinks the person that they fall in love with would ever hurt them. And then what I can only speak for myself, and I know there's so many other women out there like that and that are afraid to speak because my pride and being embarrassed and ashamed because of like just who I am, and I knew my worth. you don't want to tell anybody because it's after a while, your friends don't want to hear it, and then it just came to the point where, it's just I finally had to call the cops and it just took one time, but my mind just went totally blank for a second.
No, you're okay. This is a
Sorry.
hard conversation to have. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's just like you were saying, it's like you never imagine yourself to be in that position, but
No.
and the thing that a lot of people don't understand is that it's not a quick thing that happens. It's a
That's
process
hmm
where you're kind of made to have an alternate reality almost where it's almost like it's like what abuse is, but for some reason this isn't abuse to you, like, because it's a
no, because you
slow
love them.
process. Yeah.
It is, and there was physical, and I'm lucky to be alive and sitting here right now because he would have killed me. I mean, I'm sure, even if it was an accident. And I was going to say, there's at least over 500 women each year die, are killed, or partners are killed by their partners, whether man or female. Over 500 women are killed each year
That's
by their partners. But
staggering.
yeah, but it's speaking out because you get scared, because they threaten that they're going to kill you, or don't say nothing, or you just like me. I was so ashamed. It's like they say this: you either the three F's, you fight, flight, or freeze. One of those, people will run away and never come back. Or I froze up for the first time in my life. I froze up because it was so overwhelming and so scary. But I loved him. I thought I could not I thought I could change him in a way, like he's gonna see who I really am and he'll, see that I'm not gonna hurt him. And then I learned a lot of things about myself because it was my breaking point to understand who I am. It's opened up so many doors. I didn't realize I was a codependent, that, I want I need I'm a codependent. So I actually go to codependent uh meetings like NA or AA. I go to codependent meetings.
No, it's a real thing, and it's funny. Well, it's not
It is.
funny. I do that a lot. I'm like, it's funny and not funny. But
I know I do.
but I remember I got this book, and I can't remember what it was called right now, but I got this book and realized that that's how I was too. Is I was codependent as well. I just became dependent on this person, and
Mhm.
my whole life was wrapped up in them, to the extent of when I was out without that person, I felt like, I lost myself. I lost who I
Yep.
was, and I was
And
so wrapped up in that. And that book was so helpful, and I remember reading it and highlighting things that I totally connected with, and that book was highlighted like crazy, about codependency. And so being able to come to terms with that, and I think it's great that you sought out therapy for that, and that you go to, group about that, because it really you really have to work to get your mind back straight again after
yeah.
going through something like that, you know?
Yes, because it's like he didn't break me. I think I was at a breaking point, but he took something from me. Like there was something that was missing from me, and I couldn't find myself. It was, I still have triggers every now and then. I still, even though what is what's done is done, but even it's the state, they took up charges, like nowadays, the woman doesn't even have to, press charges. They didn't even ask me. It's all automatically the state picks up charges. But it's just speaking out, because you have to speak out, because even when I was getting therapy, um, like like last year or something, still I felt like no closure, and I still talk to him a little bit, thinking something would be different, and it isn't. It's like 7%, 7 times for the woman to finally, if she's not, if they haven't aren't there, if they haven't died by then, God forbid if they did, they don't. It takes at least seven times for them. They'll keep going back at least 7 times, 6 to 7 times, to finally really leave, like that seventh time. And I went back quite a few times, and I get it. It's hard to talk about because people that understand it don't understand it, and they say, hey, get over it, just move on. It's easy to tell someone just to move on. You can't tell someone when to move on and when to get over it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's in your own
Yeah.
time. It truly is. I mean, and
Like if I
everybody's
did, I
gonna.
would.
Well, it's kind of like it's like a grieving process almost,
It
It's like
is.
it's like
It
you
is.
have to deal with it in your own time, and you know And it's so thankful that we have different groups and things that you can go to about that. But that whole part about going back 7 times, I think I've told you this before, that I envy that, because you left, you essentially left, right? You left and then went back, you left and went back, but you were the one leaving, whereas
Oh yeah,
with
yeah.
me, I was literally hanging on. Like, I would still be with this person, I
Mhm,
think, if they hadn't have dumped me. And I to this day, I wish that I would have had the strength to leave like you did, or to
mhm.
call the cops like you did, you
I had
know?
to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But,
It was bad. It was really bad. I mean, I was sleeping. Actually, just imagine you're sleeping and you wake up by someone just grabbing you and just like throwing you up, like basically up against the wall. It's like, but you're half asleep. I didn't know what was going on. I was discombobulated, and I didn't know what to do. I mean, and he was pushing me out of the house, which I never lived with him, but I never lived with him. Just stayed here and there because I wasn't that crazy to move my stuff in there. No way. Mm-mm. But yeah, I
see,
had to call the cops.
I was crazy. I was in that relationship for 3.5 years, and we lived together and everything. And what's
Okay.
stupid is when you're in a situation like this, it's really difficult to explain to somebody who's never been in it before. But
Yeah.
like for me, it was like we had all these problems, and I just thought, oh well, it's because you know we miss each other, or something stupid, like stuff that just literally
Right.
looking back doesn't make any sense at all. But I was
I
like,
know.
oh, this'll make it better. We'll live
Yeah.
together. Oh, we'll get a house and that'll fix it. Well,
Right. And it
no,
doesn't.
it's like, I mean, and let me just tell you, for anybody having any kind of problem with anything, there's not like a fix like that that's gonna take care of it. It's not.
Right.
You can't buy your way into happiness, or switch yourself into a new environment and suddenly everything's gonna be different. It's just not. But
Nope. What I found is, what I've learned a lot about myself. It's not like with me, with people. It's not what you have, how much money you have. I don't care what you drive. It's who you are as a character, your character, and your soul. Like, it's so. Excuse me. It's so important. When I saw the red flags, but I kept I wouldn't listen to my intuition, but I seen him. You know what I'm saying? I seen him and I felt it, but it's like I think I can change this person. He's going to see who I am, and like like I was, someone important. No, people like that. It was brutal. It was pretty bad. I mean, if he was even like stalking, that's against the law. Putting a GPS on my car and stuff like that, knowing where I was at all the time. It was just crazy. It's a whole other ball game, and it got scary. That's why I'm staying with my brother still, because I'm not ready to
yeah,
get to a new place. Does
well,
that make sense?
yeah, it totally does, man. And we definitely want you to stay safe too. And it's smart that you are taking steps to be safe. But I think that the point is, it's just like, there might be people watching right now who are in that situation. And it's funny because you you I did this. I don't know if you did this, but I remember when I was with this person, I was like, is this an abusive relationship? I'm going to Google abusive relationship so it can tell me how I know. I mean, how stupid is that? Like, I need Google. I need Google to tell me what an abusive relationship. If you're over there Googling and trying to determine if you're in an
You already
abusive,
know.
you already know. Yeah, it's true. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you think you are, then you are,
Right, right, like right, exactly. So I didn't do that. I knew that it was. Mine was I did the same exact thing, but it was looking up narcissism. I was obsessed with narcissists. Like, oh my gosh, he's like everything like a narcissist. Like, and then some, because they're sociopaths. I mean, literally, and they walk around this world like, like they don't do nothing wrong, and they're like God's gift to everything, but it's behind closed doors, and when no one's looking, it's sick. But I did the same thing like you, not Googling abusive, but narcissistic, because I knew it was like something wasn't right.
Yeah, it's
I
like it's almost like you need some authority to tell you, "Hey, this is what's happening."
like
When
okay,
really you actually know. I want to make sure and let people
yeah,
know what we're talking about here for people who are just joining. I'm talking with Denise the Mooch
yeah,
Moochie, a breast cancer kids ticket volunteer, and we're talking about overcoming adversity. She overcame adversity through making it through domestic violence, coming out the other side of that. So be sure, if you guys have any comments or questions, to pop them into the broadcast here. I'm going to read a couple things here real quick.
okay,
Denise Amber says, "You are an inspiration, no doubt about it. Thank you."
thank
That's to
you,
you. Amber also
thank
says, "Denise, you sharing your story of narcissistic abuse resonates. Thank you for sharing. You are so strong, such a
Thank you.
warrior. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mark says, Denise, April, you both are so strong and an inspiration and role model for others. Thank you so much, Mark. Um,
Oh, thanks, Mark.
and John West is in the house, light tech extraordinaire. I hope to see you super soon. He says hello to two of the most beautiful ladies in the world. Thank you, John. You're a sweetheart. But yeah, be
Oh,
sure if you do have any questions, pop those in the comments. But
mm.
we're talking about getting through all that and kind of coming to grips with the fact of what you're dealing with. So, Denise, like, tell me as much as you're comfortable telling about what down or whatever you can tell about what went down the night that you finally decided to call the police.
It was a morning actually, because he had been putting me down. The worst too is like the name calling. Like I know I wasn't, all these names he was saying to me, but it got really crazy. So I was sleeping, and it was early in the morning. I had to be to work at 6:30 in the morning at QT, and so oh gosh, hang on,
It's
I'm sorry.
you're okay, and you just tell as much or as little as you want, Denise.
Okay.
We all think you're a freaking rock star, so you're among friends here.
Well, I feel silly because my dog is trying to walk towards me,
Oh, grab him,
and she's
grab
on the
her!
table.
No,
I'm
there we go,
sorry.
grab her.
So
She's
sorry.
gonna be on the show. Katie's in the house,
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen.
kids in the house. She was supposed to be in my daughter's bedroom.
You're good,
I'm
you're
sorry.
good. No, you're fine. It's so funny. I was like,
Anyway, so
yeah.
it was the morning. I was sleeping and I was sleeping and I just woke up to like, I heard you don't love me and just like just grab me and the next thing I know was I was in the bathroom. And what's another crazy thing, I say funny and crazy, but really it was terrible. It was terrible. And I'm just crying, going, what the heck? I didn't even know what's going on. And he's throwing, I like to color. So I have some coloring books. And I just remember turning and and then from the mirror from behind me, he was throwing my coloring books at me, which hurt so bad. I had bruises all on my legs. You never know what the corner of a book, of a little uh, coloring book, will do to you. I was so upset and I couldn't even get ready for work. I knew I had to be to work in 30 minutes, and I just went up. I was getting out of the house. He would go on these tantrums. You would never even know it. I always walked on eggshells all the time, on walking on eggshells all the time. And I went to the Waffle House up the street, and I knew I had to do something because it was traumatic. And that's just one time. Even I went through a lot of other things before that I'm ashamed to even talk about till it got to that point. But
Well,
yeah,
I want you to
so
know you should never feel ashamed about any of this because you're alive today
I
and
am.
your story is going to help other women out there, other people out there that have been or are in or have been in a similar situation. It's
Right.
that I'm glad that you kind of got to that breaking point and were able to do something about it. So, um, what happened next? That was that the last time you were around this person?
No, so the police came, made a report and everything, and then of course, gosh. Oh, so then it was like so then you get phone calls from like victim services and everything, and they basically I helped the state out because they're pressing charges on 'em because little did I know, everybody thinks they can Google people and look them up, and they paid this money to look up people. Not at the DA's office, they have everything. They have it's like he had a history of it with even
Wow.
with his mother,
Uh
a
huh.
lot of stuff. And I say that because I should have left the first time I saw him the way he
Well,
yelled
I
at
think
my
we all feel that way. Anybody who's been in that situation. I mean, I remember the first time, Denise. I was like, the first time I got hit, I was like, I gotta leave. I said out loud, I was like, I can't be here. I can't be here. I gotta leave. But part of the whole play is that rage and then that utopian love, And so it was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It'll never happen again. Blah blah blah. And then maybe they just wait a little bit longer before they do something like that again. And then eventually the it starts out far apart and then they gets closer and closer and closer, and then it's just a constant, almost a constant, either physical abuse, it's almost a constant daily emotional abuse of some kind of name calling. And I remember the one thing
physical.
Yeah,
everything.
this one the person that I was with, would just always tell me I was stupid. And even to this day, if somebody, like, if somebody's mad and they say, "You're being stupid," or "You're stupid," or they're yelling at me about something and they're saying I'm being stupid or anything, to this day, that's just like, I can't even take that. Like, I'm just like,
Right.
you
I
know?
get it. I
You
get it.
know?
And go ahead.
"No, man, no, I want you to talk, you go."
Well, so you know what else I've learned? So if that's all she called you, I mean, I've been called every name in the book, stuff that it was disgusting, and that I'm not even going to say on here. It was, it was brutal. I mean, it was brutal, the things that he would say. So I also learned that when people are saying stuff to you and they're calling you names and they're talking bad about you, really that's how they feel about their self inside. And they don't know how to reflect that on their self. So they push it, they don't even know that. Does that make sense? And they push it out on
That's a
you.
yeah,
That's
that's
what they
probably
are.
very true. That's probably
They
very true, and that probably goes for just about anything. Anytime somebody's
right.
trying to make themselves like try to put you down and make themselves look better than you, that just means that they're self-conscious and they don't have a lot of
Insecure.
confidence and
They're
all
very
that stuff. Yeah, yeah. And
and they're
so
not happy with themselves, obviously. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I do. I
If
do
you think
know.
about it, it's true.
Yeah, I know. In addition to like the name calling and stuff, this person would always like make fun of my appearance. And so they would say certain things. And so even to this day, like if somebody says something remotely close, like, I'm not going to give anybody ideas to use against me, but,
Right.
stuff that
I
they've
know.
said before in the past, it's like, it still is a
You get
trigger.
defensive.
Or if I look in the mirror and I feel like I see that or whatever, you
Oh, see,
know?
that's so messed up. I mean, I totally get that because if even my friends are kidding around with me, I have, some guy friends, and they'll say certain stuff, and it's just like I get defensive. And it's like, what'd you just say? It's like, man, I'm only kidding, but they don't know everything I've been through because that's like PST, PTSD.
PTSD. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But a trauma, I've been traumatized, and that's a
True.
real thing, and not just with that, just with a lot of stuff. I mean, still, when I pull up to my daughter's or I'm at a friend's house, I mean, I call them and let them know I'm coming in, just to like just be looking out for me because I'm afraid I'm gonna get, I don't know, a dog. If it's at nighttime, I'm gonna get grabbed and get thrown in a truck or something. I mean, because stuff has happened to me. They're like, "Why are you freaking out?" Some of my friends, chill out. What's wrong with you? It's like, they don't understand it. They think I'm like spazzing out or something. Things have been done to me. I'm scared.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And I
And
hate to
I
say this, but
wish
it's true.
I wish there was a way that people could understand without having to go through it. But really, truly, the
Oh,
only way you can know is having been there. It's too much to even
yep.
try to explain. I mean, even to this day, for me, my situation ended in 2000. Three, I think 2003. So, dude, that's almost oh my god, I'm so old. It's almost 20 years
Yeah,
ago,
you know what?
and even to this day, like there's certain things, or I might like jump, like I'm scared somebody like if somebody's mad and they slam something down or something like that. I might like I'm just like oh my god,
Right.
and it's been 20 stinking years, dude. It sucks, man.
Because they
You
leave it.
know?
It's like leaving a mark. I know. I know.
Yeah.
But you're doing great. I'm proud of you.
Well,
I'm
dude,
proud of you.
I'm proud of you, and so are a lot of people watching right now. I'm gonna read you some more things
Okay.
here. Amber says that she's so excited to join. What an incredible drummer and woman with passion for music and people. Oh, thank you so much, Amber.
Yeah.
Thanks, girl. Great convo on the live broadcast. Thank you, Amber. She also says total jaw drop and connection to hear this part of their story. Strong women to share. So awesome. Thank you, Amber. Thanks for being here,
Thank
man.
you very much.
And
Thank you.
Chris says, "Do not feel ashamed. It is not you." Such a
Mm,
great point.
thank
Yeah.
you.
And
Thank you. Yeah,
Brandy,
girl.
awesome, amazing sponsor of Drumathon year after year. Brandy McComb Photography in the house.
Uh-huh.
She says, "I am just joining and watching from bed, and I love you guys. So awesome. Very
Oh,
cool."
I love you too.
Yeah. So,
And
just to anybody out there that's watching, like we were talking about earlier, it's like if you think that you're in an abusive relationship, you probably are. And just make sure if you decide you want to do something about that, that you're very safe about your decision. Um, Fortunately, there's a lot of wonderful women's shelters out there. There's Genesis.
there's so much help.
Yeah, there's
Mm-hmm.
New
Help. I
Begin.
mean, even free.
Yeah, New Beginning Center. I believe they're still in Garland. I actually used to, long, long time ago. ironically, as a result of the person I was with, they were wanting to hold events for. Well, I'll talk to you about that later. I don't want to spew that on
Okay.
this on the show, but
Okay.
anyways, so I used to volunteer for an organization called the Beginning Center. It's a nonprofit for women of domestic violence, and they're in Garland, and so I believe that they're still around as well. But there's a lot of great resources, and they are very careful to explain to you a safe way to get out. So whatever you do when you get out, make sure you get out safely. If that's what you decide to do, have a plan, and do it safely because it could be a very dangerous situation.
And also, I was going to say, so I'm in Fort Worth, so Tarrant County. There's always Safe Haven, and then the Women's Center, and they'll help you. They'll help you. But what I was also going to say is, if anybody has any questions or wants to talk to me about anything, I'll be more than happy to, help as much as I can and talk more of my story. But what really helped me is speaking out. Is That's the first thing you have to do, is speak out. Like I called the police. I started telling my neighbors. I started telling friends and family. You just start you just start telling them what's going on. You just start telling them. Just
Yeah.
start speaking out. And that's what a lot of women or men, people have pride. Like me, coming from a background like, oh, I'm tough from Boston, but really not. That anything like that would break me. I would never. Anybody like that, I would just walk the other way. I'm not sure why I did this time around, but you just it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Like, and I
No,
totally
but
didn't
see,
feel that
we
way.
shouldn't. I
And
know
you
where you're
feel
coming
so much
from.
shame.
I know where you're coming from when you say that. When you say you're embarrassed and you feel
I
shame,
want to
but
go back.
don't. And we have to stop doing that because
Right.
it,
So
it
don't do
it's
it.
it's like it's literally, I told you this before, in my opinion, being in a domestic violent or an abusive relationship, it's like a brainwashing. It's literally
Oh, yeah.
up is down and down is up and left is
Things
right
go
and right,
all through.
and it's all, it gets your brain totally backwards to where you don't really believe it's abuse anymore, or it's not the same, or there's a reason, or they had this problem. You make excuses for them and all kinds of stuff like that,
It's
but
exhausting.
it is not your fault.
Right. It's
You're
not
not
your
to be
fault.
embarrassed. You should not be ashamed. You should
Right.
walk with pride because you're alive and got out of that. So every second that you start to think that you're embarrassed or ashamed, you just remember how much of a
Don't.
badass you are.
Exactly. Right. That's true. Are
You
you saying
know?
that to me? It's
Yeah,
everybody.
that's to you, mama.
Thank you.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, that's
Thank
right.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's why I
totally.
hope girls, or guys don't feel embarrassed. Just, they got to be stopped because it doesn't ever stop. It gets worse and it gets worse. It
Yeah,
doesn't get better. It doesn't. And
doesn't
it won't.
right. Yep.
It won't.
Yeah. Don't, if they're gonna hit you once, they're gonna hit you twice. I mean, it's just,
Oh, yeah.
that's a major character flaw. That's not just an
Oh,
accident.
yeah.
That one day, really
Mhm.
truly mean that. I
Mhm.
got some more stuff from Amber, who's awesome, and I'm really
Thank
glad
you.
you're here, Amber. She's really
Me too.
connecting with this story, Denise. She says, just know that y'all sharing your stories and journey as warriors matter. Y'all rock. Narcissists can stick it. Breast cancer can stick it. Crohn's disease can stick it. That's right,
Right.
dude.
Narcissists can
That's
see
so
it.
awesome. Thank you, Amber, for all your love and support. We're really, really glad you're here. Mark says, yes, and all this makes sense. Chris is sending love to us both. Jerry,
Oh,
she's in the house. She says, thank you for sharing your stories and resources. Of course, Jerry. And like Denise says, she's an open book. I also am. If you ever want to message me on my personal Facebook page
I would love to.
at Drummer April, you can message me. And Denise is available to chat too. It's like we just switched our nonprofit from a breast cancer awareness nonprofit to a domestic violence nonprofit just for tonight.
Right.
But it all wraps up together nice and tight. That the moral of the story is, strong women, strong people overcoming adversity, making it to the other side, rock star warriors, and that's exactly what you are, Denise. And I'm just so
Thank you.
happy
You
that
are
you can,
too.
girl. Thank you. And I'm
You
just,
inspire me. I look up to you. Like
oh
you're on
man.
this high pedestal. I just look up to you
Oh well, thank you,
so
Denise.
much.
It's been such a pleasure
You've
getting
done
to
a
know
lot.
you and have you be a part of the Breast Cancer Can Stick It team and see your smiling face all the time.
Thank
And
you.
having you on the show has been fantastic. If you guys joined late, be sure and watch the
Thank you.
replay. Great show tonight here with Denise, and thank you so much for being on. We'll let you go, and we'll catch you on the flip
Thank
side. All
you.
right, all right.
All right. Thank you
We
so
love you,
much.
girl. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye. You too.
All right, guys. That was Denise the Moon. Moochie, breast cancer kids ticket volunteer.